If you're wondering what you're looking at, it's Saudi Arabia's utopia. The octagonal city exists with half of it on land and half of it floating on the sea, and has been given the name Oxagon. Oxagon was announced in November of 2021 and is currently in the beginning stages of development, garnering lots of attention and interest. But why would they build a city like this? Surely there's more to it than just spectacle. And more importantly, who is behind it all? Sit back and stay till the end to find out on this episode of Built a Billion. The city of Oxagon is one part of a plan to build the NEOM project in northern Saudi Arabia. This new futuristic tourist destination aims to truly change the trajectory of the country forever, from a country heavily dependent on oil to an economically diverse juggernaut. NEOM is comprised of three main regions. These include the Line, a 170-kilometer-long linear city that I've made plenty of videos about. Next there's Trojena, the luxurious snow resort, and finally you have Oxagon, the industrial force of the area. We've talked about Oxagon briefly in the past, but it's now time to dive into the details of this mysterious city. So what does it look like? For starters, a waterway runs through the land portion and floating portions of the city, where container ships can reach the city's port. Here, goods can be transported right from the ship to the factory in a short distance, keeping supply chain times as short as possible. But NEOM'S location strategically bets on its proximity to the Suez Canal, where 12% of all global trade passes through. In other words, Oxagon has a nice advantage before even being built. The ocean portion of Oxagon will break records as the largest floating structure in the world, and will not only contain industrial sites, but include housing and leisure activities, making it a complete city. But when it comes to industry, Oxagon has its sights set on attracting different sectors, with an emphasis on futuristic tech like AI, robotics, and sustainability-focused companies. For example, Oxagon has already secured the largest green hydrogen plant in the world and a desalination plant. Sure, the location is ideal. Intentions are awesome and partnerships have been announced in some regards, but when you further dig into what Oxagon is supposed to look like, it becomes clear that the future city is just a vision that could look a lot different once actually completed. And the strange decision to build half the city in the water seems a tad nonsensical. It's meant to represent the relationship between humanity and nature, and an oceanographic institute was announced to further foster this idea. Its aim is to become a leading force in marine research. That would be a great announcement, but where's the announcement on how this city will actually float? Isn't that putting the cart before the horse? Is this a symbol of sustainability, or a true tangible city of sustainability? If the goal was harmony between humans and nature, why disturb the marine life by building a city right in the middle of it? How can you say your focus is preserving the marine life's habitat, while at the same time building a huge megaport in their home that no one asked for? It's a harsh truth when you realize the fact that no one asked for this, or has a need for this. So whose vision is it? But before we get into that, if you're enjoying this content and would love to hear about all the mega projects of the world, please subscribe to the channel and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. It'll really help the channel out. Now back to the video. The vision of Oxagon belongs to Mohammed bin Salman, otherwise known as MBS. He is the seventh son of the current king of Saudi Arabia, King Salman, and is the heir to the throne. Except this heir is already running the show. When King Salman became king, he immediately appointed MBS as Minister of Defense, and from there, he slowly extended his power until he became largely regarded as the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia. And the man with the plan has an interesting way of funding his utopian vision. Okay, so here's how MBS is funding Oxagon, so try and follow along. The profits of the government-owned oil company Saudi Aramco is the biggest source of income for the country. Saudi Aramco controls all of the country's oil reserves and is the second richest company in the world by market cap. despite only going public in 2019. The company was originally overseen by the Ministry of Petroleum and Mineral Resources and paid its revenue to the Ministry of Finance, which is responsible for the government's budget. But once King Salman became king, complete control over Saudi Aramco was given to a council headed by MBS. In addition, Saudi Arabia has a large sovereign wealth fund called PIF that invests mostly in private foreign companies, and this is now headed by MBS as well. In 2019, Saudi Aramco went public and offered 1.5% of its company's shares, raising $26.5 billion and making it the world's largest IPO. But the proceeds went not to the Ministry of Finance, but straight to the PIF. And in another surprising move, MBS moved 4% more of Saudi Aramco's shares into the PIF, resulting in permanent revenue for future project investment. This is how Salman is financing Oxagon and all of NEOM for that matter, the Sovereign Wealth Fund or PIF. This is his way of getting around the challenges that come with trying to fund projects when you're an absolute monarch. How do we truly create more sustainable urban environments? Should we be creating new cities filled with spectacle or improve upon the cities we already have? Let me know in the comments below. I have another video on NEOM'S Line City project that should be on the screen, so click that video on the screen to watch something you haven't seen. And thanks for visiting Built a Billion.